Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Danielle, and for those of you who may or may not know, I am a hairstylist. I have been a hairstylist for a little over 2 years now. My first year I was under commission, and this past year was my first year as a renter. And as you can tell from the title of this video, I did hit a huge goal that I set for myself at the beginning of the year becoming a renter, and that was hitting $100,000 in my first year. It is just beyond crazy that I can even say that. I feel so incredibly grateful that I was able to hit that goal. I couldn't have been able to do it without all of my amazing clients. I love them so much. But today I am here to give you all of my tips and tricks on how I reached this goal. And I just want to put a quick disclaimer out there. I am in no way, shape, or form trying to brag about the fact that I did hit this goal. And I just want to share all of my knowledge and tips on how I got there with all of you guys, whether you are wanting to become a hairstylist or you already are and you also want to hit this goal. But yes, no way, shape, or form am I trying to brag. And I also wanted to say that these tips and tricks may not work for everybody, but they did for me, and I just want to share all of the tips with you guys. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's just hop right on into it. So yes, like I said, my first year as a hairstylist, I was a commission stylist. And then from January of 2022 to now has been the first year I have been a renter. Before renting, I had a couple of accomplishments that I wanted to hit, and I knew $100,000 was a huge goal to achieve, but I knew as a person that if I set my mind to that and worked my ass off, did all of the things that I needed to do, I could make it happen. And I did, and it just feels so good. And I just want all of you guys to know, whether you are someone who wants to become a hairstylist, you just need to know that it's all about you. It really upsets me when I go on Google, and if you search the average salary of a hairstylist, I'm pretty sure it's anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a year. And that can really affect someone's mindset or outlook on us hairstylists. And I just wish Google did not do that, because it is not true whatsoever, and I'm here to prove that. So if you're someone who wants to go to hair school and become a hairstylist, just do it, okay guys? Don't listen to Google. So we're gonna hop right into the tips, and tip number 1, I know it's gonna sound a little silly, but you are going to want to purchase a notebook to write everything in. When I say everything, I mean everything. This notebook has been my best friend for the past year, and I want to kind of jump into why. So before I even started renting, I knew that I needed to kind of do a lot of math to figure out if I was even ready to become a renter, because it's scary at first to drop everything and just decide I want to be a business owner. And no, not a business owner of owning my own salon, but you technically are your own boss. So it kind of is the same. So what I did was, before I started renting, for 6 months, I compared my commissions earnings to what I would have made if I was a renter. So each week I wrote down all of the money that I was making, totaled it up, then went back into my app that showed all of my history for clients, and I just pretended like I was a renter. So instead of taking out my commission, I just added up all of the services that I did, equaled it out. I took out as if I were paying rent, paying for product, paying for taxes. I did all of that. I know, I'm a little insane, but I needed to do this to keep it in my brain that, okay, I'm ready to rent, or okay, I'm not. And so from doing this, from April to September, which was 6 months, it was almost an $11,000 difference from commission versus renting. And you also have to take into consideration that this was back when I really wasn't as busy. I didn't have as many hours. So to me, this was a huge difference, and it really changed my outlook on being a commission stylist. And I knew in that moment I needed to rent my chair. And then a lot of people forget that when you become a renter, you actually have to do quite a few things. So I did create a to-do list, which is huge in becoming a renter. I had to open up a completely separate banking account. I needed to talk to my accountant. If you don't have an accountant, get one. I needed to get insurance for my business. I needed to start my website. I needed to buy all of the product to start out, and then I also needed to get my shop space license. So this to-do list really helped me with getting organized, and it's gotten me where I am today. So definitely follow all of those steps as well. I do use glossgenius for my website. It has been a huge help in achieving my goal as well. They are awesome with keeping track of all your analytics as far as how much you are receiving for the year. Obviously, it also keeps track of all of your clients, so it's very easy to find all of your clients through the app, and it's so easy to book. And all of my clients say how easy Gloss is to even use. They always send a million reminder texts and updates, so if you are looking to get into glossgenius, definitely do so. I'll put the link to Gloss down below if you're in the situation where you need to find a website to use, but I love glossgenius. So yes, definitely get this little notebook and make a to-do list and just make sure you're ready to rent. Another big tip that I have, so tip number 2, is pricing. This is always such a controversial topic when it comes to hairstylists, which I think is so stupid. Like, it shouldn't be controversial. Every hairstylist is different. We all work in different locations. Everyone's rent is different. Everyone's products are different. Some people just value their time differently. Like, there's so many things that go into it. So in 2023, we need to stop hating on hairstylists' pricing, okay? A huge tip that I suggest every hairstylist to do, and you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but in this little handy dandy notebook, I wrote every single product that I buy and use. I wrote the amount of ounces that comes in the product, the price of the product, and then how much it would cost for an ounce of the product. I know, it's a lot to take in, but it helped me figure out my prices so much easier because you genuinely want to feel secure in your prices. You don't want to feel like, okay, yeah, I'm making a little bit more, or oh yeah, I'm breaking even. Absolutely not. You want to make sure you are in a good space when it comes to product cost versus how much you're getting in. So I'll just do one quick example to make it sound a little bit easier. So I use Redken Flash Lift for my lightener. There's 32 ounces in the pack that I get, and it's $41.18 for the whole thing. So an ounce would be $1.29. Now for my full highlights and a cut, I charge $2.50, and for that service it includes 3 ounces of lightener, a toner, and then if I need to do a root tap or root smudge, that is also included. So I never add extra. The only time I will add an additional charge is if I have to use an extra bowl or extra bowls of lightener. So if we take that into consideration, since an ounce is $1.29, if you times that by 3, it's probably like $4. Then you also have to remember you have to use the developer. So the developer is about 25 cents per ounce, and I use 1.5 ounces every time I make an ounce bowl. So whatever, I don't have time to do the math for that. But then, of course, if I have to tone the hair, which I always do, I have to use 2 ounces of my Redken shades, so that's $6.74, and the developer as well. Same thing with root smudge, which I don't really do a ton of them anymore, but I still do a couple, so that's also taken into consideration. I also use foils and all of my styling products, shampoos, conditioners, like everything goes into account for what you're doing. So that is like a huge tip, is just to make sure that your prices equal enough to account for the product you're using. And you also need to think about your time too. I typically work an 8-hour day, but for an example to make it a little easier, say you're working a 9-hour day and you take 3 full highlights and cuts that are at 3 hours. That would be $7.50. Obviously, you don't want to include the tip because some people might not tip. Some people might tip 20, less than 20%, more than 20%, but I never take into consideration tips because tips is just an added bonus to it. So if you take 750 divided by 9 hours, you're getting $83 an hour. But then you also need to take into consideration that you're paying for your rent every week. You also need to take out taxes from that, and taxes are huge, and the product as well. So you really need to just take into consideration every little detail and make sure that it makes sense for your pricing. Okay, so now that my little handy dandy notebook is out of the way, we're gonna go into tip number 3, which is social media. Social media for hairstylists is huge. I also think this is a very controversial topic. I don't really know why, but if you are a hairstylist just starting out, you need an Instagram. Even if it's not Instagram, you need some sort of platform where you are showing your work to other people, because if not, it is going to be really hard to grow your clientele in such a short period of time. I know some people may have different opinions on it, but that's just my opinion. So on Instagram, I have 2,182 followers. I feel like that's pretty average for the amount of followers that other hairstylists have in my area, which makes me feel good. It's also important that in your bio, you have where your hair salon is, what you specialize in, if you're accepting new clients, like stuff like that, and your booking website is on your Instagram. Obviously, you don't necessarily have to specialize in something, but I put in lived in color and balayage connoisseur because I love doing that. Not only are my balayage and highlights my biggest services, but they are genuinely the #1 service that I enjoy doing the most. So to be able to do something that I love the most and then making the most out of it, come on, like it's perfect. And because I put out what I want to receive, that's exactly what happens. So I post all of my colors that I do, my highlights, my balayages, my platinums, my redheads, all my brunettes, my coppers. Like I literally post all of the colors that I do, and it attracts the people that want that, so they come to see me because they know I do a lot of highlights, lived in colors, and balayaging. So social media is huge. I feel like if I did not have an Instagram, I would not be where I am today, hitting this major goal of 100,000 in a year. It's also crucial with Instagram because whenever I have a client that's new, we'll say, I always ask them to follow me on Instagram so that I can tag them in the picture that I post. That way they can then repost it on their Instagram and all of their followers and friends will see it and then come to my page and be like, oh my god, my friend came to see you and I want to come. So word of mouth just all ties in together, making social media just that much bigger, and it's literally so crucial to have an Instagram as a hairstylist. So then with that being said, for tip number 4, it is so important to give your client the best experience possible and then making sure that they rebook with you. As the year has gone by, as me being a renter, I have rapidly started to notice that as every week goes by, it's all just my regulars and then maybe a couple of new clients here and there. And that is huge with becoming a hairstylist, because to me, that makes me feel really good that all of my people still want to come back. They still want to keep up with their hair. They want to make sure it's at its healthiest state. They want to maybe change up their look and they trust me to do so. There's just so many different things that go into it, but it makes me feel good because it makes me know that I gave them such a good experience last time and they want to come back again. So with client experience, it's definitely the way you carry yourself. So obviously not to say you need to like look your best every single day, but I don't typically wear leggings to work. Like, I'm always wearing jeans and just some sort of cute outfit. I either have my hair straight, blown out, or curled. Sometimes I have it in a claw clip if it's really greasy, but that people don't care about that. But I really think it's true. Like, for a client experience, you want to look nice, carry yourself nicely. You also want to make sure you are informing the client. Sometimes I over-inform and I feel like I'm being annoying, but my clients actually love it because they know exactly what I'm doing and it makes them feel that much more comfortable. A good consultation is huge for clients to come back. If you can give them a good consultation and they feel 100% comfortable with what you're doing, they're always going to come back. Obviously, making their hair look amazing. Even like at the shampoo bowl, a good head massage. Oh, that'll make them come back. And yeah, just like being yourself, having nice conversation with them, reading the room. Sometimes there will be clients that really aren't that chatty, maybe a little shy. So you kind of just have to read the room, feel out their vibe, and just make sure you're giving them the best client experience ever. And then for my last tip, number 5, this is aside from all of the social media, all of the client, all of the notebook details. It's a little more serious, but it's about having an accountant. So I also know this is a little bit personal, but everyone's different. I truthfully don't think I could ever do my taxes by myself. Taxes are something that is very serious, very particular, and needs to be done the correct way. And I personally just feel like I could never do that myself. Therefore, I have an accountant who does everything for me. Obviously, if you are someone who has dealt with doing their taxes by themselves, feels confident with keeping track of everything and doing it yourself, then absolutely go for it. But because of the seriousness of taxes, I want someone to do it for me. So an accountant basically is just my tip number 5. You want someone to help you every step of the way. For me, I do quarterly taxes, so you can either do quarterly taxes or yearly taxes. Personally, I find that yearly taxes stresses me out because you're just paying like this huge lump sum of money in one little session, as opposed to breaking it up into 4 and paying quarterly, which is what I do. So with my accountant, she is actually hooked up to my business account, and I also give her my bank statements every single month, and she tracks them through QuickBooks. So she keeps track of all of my income that is being put into that account, which my glossgenius app is hooked up to my business account. So everything that I check out through there goes in there. And then of course, if I buy product, if I buy anything that is for my business, I use that card, or like my salon credit card is also hooked up to that account. So everything is being tracked through one account, not two accounts, not three. And it's crucial to keep track of your product in anything that you buy, because you can use it as a write-off. And write-offs are huge for us hairstylists because it helps us not have to pay as much in taxes. And it's also so important to remember that your yearly income does not include all of your taxes that you have to pay. So yes, I may have made over $100,000 this first year as a hairstylist, but it does end up being a little bit less than $100,000 because I needed to pay for taxes. And it's hard to give an average of tax amount because everyone is different. Everyone will write off different things. It's just everyone is different. But yes, that is like my biggest tip. Saving the best for last. Tip number 5, just make sure you have an accountant or any source of app or Excel sheet to keep track of everything, because it is so serious when it gets to taxes, and you don't want to screw yourself over and accidentally forget something, or you're not paying enough, or you're paying too much. So that is just my biggest thing. But yes, so that concludes all of my top 5 tips that I had for you guys on how to achieve this goal of hitting over $100,000 my first year as a renter. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned a little bit from this video. If you have any other questions, please feel free to comment down below, and I will answer all of the questions. And always, don't forget to follow your dreams, do what makes you happy, never make a decision based off of someone else's opinion, and if you want to become a hairstylist, just do it. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!